are kidding, Mr. Putin. If you think we'll run and hide, we've got our boots laced up and ready, standing firm with stubborn pride. Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Putin? If you think we'll run prepared, our hearts are strong, our will unbroken, every soul is battle squared. Your shadow creeps, but we see through it. Your bluster's just a hollow game. You may march, but we're not shaken. Our spirits roaring just the same. We've got our flags high, flying steady. Our voices loud, we'll make it clear. The world is watching, the line is drawn. We'll defend what we hold dear. Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Putin? If you think we'll disappear, this land is ours and we're united. Every heart beats loud with cheer. So step away or face the thunder. This is a fight you cannot win. Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Putin? If you think we'll let you win.
Hello everyone, welcome back to a Prepper's Fireside. Different team with me now. The meet went so well that I've alienated Brian, Andy and everything, and they've just left the Fireside for good. So we won't be seeing them. No, I'm joking. It's fine. It's all good. Tonight I'm joined by Barry, the Brown Coat Prepper. How you doing, Barry?
All well, thank you, Mike.
Excellent, excellent. And joined by Ben from Renegade Preppers. Let me remove that background, Ben, because it's kind of jiggling out your name. I don't know what is going on there. I've got the... Let's get that on there. Oh, Miss Worm's watching. That's the way to do it. How you doing, Ben?
I'm all good. How's everybody doing? Thank you for having me on Fireside.
No, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. You're not just here to make up numbers, I promise. No.
I really am. I've got Miss Worm behind me. She's just got a stick, and she's there. If you don't do as you're told, I'll poke you.
That's my life in a nutshell. I have just got back from the Midlands Outdoor Survival Meet, and I'll tell you, best one so far this year. Absolutely brilliant, superb turnouts, great demos. Even our very own Brian did a demo today just before we left, and yeah, absolutely excellent feedback and everything. So it was spot on. If you live near there and you didn't go, you missed out, and you want to get on it next year. So. Barry, you were around the corner. Where were you?
Mate, work in real life, this is it, It's one of those things. I mean, if I'd had a bit more advance warning, I probably could have got some time off, but unfortunately, couldn't do it.
I mean, all we can do, Barry, is put a prepping meet right on your doorstep, and, it's still not good enough. We know. I can see what it is.
There's a field just over the back. I'll try and get that next time.
Excellent. And really, Ben, when you coming to a meet? When's you plan?
One next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you coming to Scotland next year? You're gonna make the big journey.
I am. I'm gonna come up on the train. I managed to find a train from where we are up, so
oh nice.
Get all that together, and I'll ping the email across and get that sorted out.
Awesome. Be good to see you there. We'll have a full-size Fireside live for that one. Good to see everybody in the chat. We've got 87 people in there. We've got Miss Worm and Evil, or Ems, is in there keeping check on everything. I saw Rift in there as well before, so we've got a full chat of moderators in here. And I love to see so many green names that are members on the channel as well. Your support is really appreciated. Right, the topic is, because it's just, it's my Fireside. I can do what I want. It's going off grid. But it's not just for me, Barry, is it? It's something you've been considering, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we've had a couple of behind the scenes conversations as well about going off grid.
Mm-hmm.
Making sort of the ultimate prepper's move. It's something that, it can either happen very suddenly or it can take a heck of a lot of planning. Mm-hmm. But at the root of it all, it's what's in here. as to how far you want to take it. Do you just want to move away and have a nice quiet life somewhere, or is it a case if you want to go the whole hog, total isolation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I want to do the total isolation. I don't know about you. I'd like to be isolated from like general people, but I won't be unaccustomed for visitors coming down. So,
Good job.
what's inspired the move for you then, Barry?
I've been thinking about doing it for years, mate. Ever since probably in my late 20s, I would say, something like that. I've always aspired to eventually, at some point, own my own bit of land, grow my own food, and basically work the land and enjoy myself. Simple as that, and not work for the man as it is,
Yeah, and the longer you put that off, the more difficult that working of the land is going to be as we all seem to age. Yeah, Ben, you're in Wales, right? So you're practically off grid already. They're still on gas tellies down there. Is it ever something you've considered? Because you're in like a situation where, I mean, you're in an apartment or a flat, if you won't mind me saying. Surely a bit of land's got to be better than that. Is it something you've ever thought about? No audio, no mic.
It's this headphone.
That's it.
There we go. It's this set of headphones. I'm not used to the mute button being on the back.
All right.
No, right, remind me again. Sorry. Great.
Is it something you've considered going off grid? Because it's got to be better than isolating in a flat.
Yeah. No. We've been thinking about it. We've looked into it. It's just the financial side of things. Don't get me wrong. It's not uberly expensive in our budget and bracket figures, but we've looked into it, and I said to the wife, at the end of the day, things are so uncertain. We could take that plunge right now and say, yeah, all right, we'll put, I don't know, say, for example, 10 grand to the side, get a nice big plot of land.
Yeah.
But the time it takes to prep all that, start getting it all moved and all, we need double what we've already put aside for number one. And out of our budget, then that's the extra costs, and not just the land, but all the admin fees, all the I don't know what all the fees are. I will be honest there, but most of all the fees, as I say, that you've got to do afterwards, it's going to put us over budget. So we've looked at it. Be a great idea. Hell, it would be a paradise for us. Be a nice place to go. Like you in a sense, Mike. We wouldn't be so much opposed to visitors, but it would be nice to have our own little place.
Yeah.
So we've looked into it, but the expense there for us personally is a little bit out of budget.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's ways and means. This is the thing, and I think that's most of mine and Barry's conversation behind closed doors is thinking outside of the box kind of thing when it comes to the land. So we'll talk about the land first, really, because that's, at the end of the day, that's the be all and end all. Nelly is in the house. He said, I sold up, got land, worked at it, retired early, quite happy now. So there you go.
Well done, Nelly.
Many people have done it. I mean, some people have done it and failed with it and stuff like that. But I think as long as the partner's on board and the family's on board with it, then you're all right. If you're dragging somebody who likes to live in a city kicking and screaming to live in a cabin in the woods, then yeah, that's never going to work. YouTube is messing with our names. Lots of fun. Okay. I hope my name's not changed. Interesting. But yeah, so the land, there's multiple land for sale. The further north you go, the cheaper it gets. Also, I think where Ben is in Wales, you can still get some quite cheap lots and weird corners of fields and forestry commission and stuff. But it's still what? Minimum 15 grand we're talking, Barry, do you think?
As a ballpark, yeah, I kind of aim for about 15 grand. I mean, I'm signed up to a land auction site. So obviously I get notifications come through of various plots up and down the country that become available. And it's always with a guide price of X amount of pounds. And even so, the amount of money that they want for the various size plots, there's no correlation. You can have a massive plot of land for a small amount of money, but until you've actually got into the details and looked at it, you may have rights of way going across it.
Yeah.
You may have covenants on it which prevent you from doing certain activities on the land, like keeping farm animals, etc., if that's something you want to do. And then you can go the other way, where you find a nice small plot of land that is absolutely perfect, but it's priced out of your reach.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that what you found mostly then? That kind of fell into one category or the other?
Yeah, looking at through sort of like the official sites like land auctions, etc. Believe it or not, like some of the estate agents on the market, places like that, if you just go in and adjust the filters accordingly, you can select farmland, you can select just land.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on the size of the plot of land you're looking for, because sometimes you're gonna have you may have to make compromises. You may want water on your land, but the ideal plot that you've just come across hasn't got it, or it's got the wrong orientation, or it's been used as something else first. There's a lot of details and a lot of information that you've got to look for. I've just read that comment.
Thank you, Polonium.
Yeah, you've got to do a lot of research. It's not something you can jump into straight away. Do your homework. Definitely do your homework.
Yeah. Pete 619 says 15,000 isn't a lot of cash these days. Not even a new good sized car / van is brought. Yeah. So I mean, there is some good deal. I found that 10 grand lot up in Scotland that had the river at the end of it and stuff like that. But I'm starting to think more outside the box now. Ben, I don't know if you know about like this kind of thing, but there's lots of YouTubers that have done this kind of thing where they go and make their claim on some unclaimed land. And if they live there for X amount of time, there you go, Barry's showing the book. If they live there for X amount of time, then they get to stay there. Now, is that something you consider, or is that too risky with a young family?
I'd say that's too risky with our young family, only because I'm overprotective of the kids. Ever since meeting Mrs. RP, I never thought I'd have kids. I was one of those in school where you were looked at and told, hey, you look like you're going to be this way or that way. You're not going to have kids. You're not going to be worth it. You're not good enough parent. Right. Now I've got kids. Now it's one of those where that's too risky for us. They've been through hell enough as it is, especially like, as they say, with COVID babies and things like that. It sounds so bad to say this, but our children are built so different to the point they are very mollycoddled. It's like if there's a disaster situation, we know we wouldn't lose sight of the kids because they're glued to us. So it's too risky for us.
So I did see something where a guy didn't go and live on the land, but he put Harris fencing up around this place that was unclaimed land. And on the Harris fencing, he put a notice saying, for inquiries, call this number. And it was a mobile number that he'd got separate, dedicated to this. Nobody else had this mobile number. So if a call came through, it was going to be an angry farmer saying, that's my land, or somebody saying, you can't claim that. So if that stays there for the same amount of time, he kind of has the same claim to it.
Right.
So you could do it without being there, essentially.
Yeah. And then again, I did state just at the start of this, during the interim, that I want to try out some stealth camping stuff. So, I mean, kind of shot myself in the foot there. But no, if it's, feasible that way, then I'd give it a go. At least that way, you're, in a sense, prepping for the eventuality if a STHF moment happens. I got a place I could bug out to, in a sense, and the family knows exactly where it is.
All right. Do you remember how I said, Barry, at least we can monetize this stream? Well, that's right out the window now.
Here he is.
Oh, no.
Hello.
Greetings. How are you, Brian?
Here's Brian on 2G.
I don't even think it's 2G. It's like 1.5 at best.
Blackpool's still on dial-up most places, so just find a phone socket. ADSL.
Hate Blackpool. I detest that. It's a horrible place. Honest to God, mate, it's an absolute shithole.
I'd say keep an eye out for some land, but even I wouldn't want to go off grid there. Lee from the Bug Out's in as well. Hello, Lee. How you doing?
Evening,
Have
Lee.
you, are you still there, Lee, or have you gone home today? You have to let us know. Yeah, Brian, how you doing? You're late. You're late to the party.
Couldn't get internet, mate. Blackpool was full, absolutely thousands of people. Didn't realise the air show was on today. So,
Oh, I bet that traffic was lovely.
oh, it was fantastic. It was such a delight getting a parking space as well. I phoned up the place we usually park at, and the woman actually laughed at me on the phone when I asked if she'd any space. So, but it was good to see the red arrows. They were pretty cool.
Cool. We're just talking about off-grid living and stuff like that, and at the moment we're talking about the land acquisition side of things. You've had some experience in looking for stuff like that. There is stuff lower budget, but it usually comes with problems. What did you find, Brian?
There was restrictive covenants on them. In Scotland, people think land's dirt cheap, and you can rock up and you'll get like 10 acres for like 30, 40 grand and this kind of stuff. Pre-COVID, land was cheaper. It really was. It was much cheaper. I looked. Now, for a parcel of crappy woods, like 3, 4 acres, you're 40 grand.
Yeah.
It's just a piss take. But that being said, you could get about a half acre, quarter acre spot just outside Fort William, just before Speen Bridge for about 5 grand plus
Yeah.
fees.
There you go.
Now you're going to have to do a lot of work on it, but if you got friendly with a local farmer, maybe do some odd jobs for them, get a loan of even you could buy an old 3CX for about 4 grand. It's going to be an absolute bucket of crap, but it'll run, and just use that to try and flatten things out, and then you could build a hut there for maintenance purposes of your land.
Yeah. So this is the other thing that I've found. When you talk about like maintenance purposes, for that reason, I think it's 28 days, Barry, that you can live there for on your land. You can be there for 28 days.
Yeah.
So, how's that affecting your plans? Does it restrict what you're looking for?
No, not at all. Because there are other things you can do in parallel and alongside that that 28 days. 28 days, that's across the year. That's just staying there for maintenance. Once you start adding livestock, you've then got a case for approaching the council for establishing a residence on there, even if it's a static a van, because you need to look after the animals' welfare.
Yeah.
So if you've got sheep or goats and they are, giving birth, etc., you've got to be there for that animal's welfare. So there are other ways you can extend that 28 days. And then eventually, after you've been there long enough, you can apply for permanent residency on the site. And then that's when you can build a permanent home.
See, I was thinking of managing a very small, very exclusive campsite.
Yeah.
But obviously it's open 365 days a year. So I need to be there to, check people in and check people out. So that was kind of my step around that one. Speaking of like temporary living there, tool shed and stuff like that, what would you go for shelter and housing wise, Ben? Would you go try and build something? I've seen people living in yurts. I've seen people living in the straw builds, all sorts of options.
Oh no, for me, I'd be going old school. Get out the tools, make myself a nice little log cabin.
Okay.
Always wanted a log cabin ever since I was a kid. I went to America to, I think it was somewhere just outside of Fort Lauderdale, and stayed in a proper log cabin down there with the family. And ever since that, just the thought of a log burner and a log cabin, that's me sorted.
Even in the Welsh winters?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Celtic blood. Gotta get used to the cold climates and the harsher summers. The hotter summers, sorry, not harsher.
Brian, if you had to live out there then, how would you, because you'd need super waterproof in sunny Scotland, what kind of shelter would you be looking at building or acquiring?
It's that bad word money again. You can live as You can live as well as you like if you've got the means to do so. And unfortunately, cash is going to be king. So how well you could live will be dictated by finances. And
Yeah.
that's an unfortunate reality of life. You
Yeah.
could get you know something? You could get a touring caravan, like a 22-foot hobby one, tow it up there, fling a camel net over it, and then it's in keeping with the local. You know, if it draws attention to itself, if you rock up there with a static caravan, there'll be some nosy bastard walking their dog that starts screeching with their blue hair that you're ruining the landscape or something. Fling a camel net over it, clad it in pine, whatever you need to do. But if it looks like a tool shed on the outside and it's a nice functional caravan on the inside you've spent $5,000 on, who's going to know?
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Barry, have you must have thought about, have you gone this far, or are you just stopping at land at the moment? Have you thought about how you're going to live?
No, small 12 by 12 cabin to start with.
Right.
Sorry, tool shed. You know, and it may or may not have a bed in there, because obviously if I need to stay late for any reason, you know, or if I need to be up there early the next morning for any particular reason.
Yeah. Nelly on the land said it absolutely has to be a cabin with foundations. I'm not sure why it absolutely has to. I suppose it'll depend on your land and what's already there.
Yeah.
Irritate says, Irritate is the lovely person that made the bunker video, which thank you for that. February 2020, I looked at a 3-acre plot of land for 17k. Same parcel of land sold last month for 72. 72. What's that? Is that, what's it, 350, 400% nearly in 5 years?
I'll tell you what it is. It's a piss take.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, definitely. Okay. So what about stuff that's already there? We see like bothies, we see like derelict farmhouses, things that like practically haven't got a roof, ruins, things like that. Viable option? Do you know anything?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Depends on the state of decay and what it actually needs doing to it. I mean, if you can move a caravan or some means of living onto the site while renovating said building, then again, you've got another legitimate reason for being there, because you can't leave all your expensive tools there all the time, can you?
No. By expensive tools, I assume you mean my kids, but
you know, hammers and things.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you're right. And Brian, there's loads of old castles in Scotland. Not thought of getting an old castle then?
Yeah, those old castles now have got a price tag that go with them. You could still buy a farm here for the price of a reasonable 3-bed semi in a reasonable town in England.
Yeah.
So where I live, it's a mid-terraced ex-council house. If I walk 100 yards, the house prices jump to 350 grand for a shoebox with a patch of grass. For the same 350 grand, you could pretty much buy a farm that needs work on the buildings and outbuildings for about 350 down in Ayrshire. There's land there, there's farms there.
Yeah.
But obviously that's a big budget.
It's a big budget, but it's something that might be more manageable for people, because they can actually, it's going to be a lot easier to go out and get a mortgage for an established building than it is to say, can you give me a mortgage for this scrap of land that I'm going to build a building on? You know, it's much more easier process, right?
Opens a lot more options. And then if you've got land, depending how it's graded and different things as well, you may have water, you may have streams, you may have woodland. It all depends. But what the point I'm trying to make is, for what people are willing to pay for a 3-bed semi at the moment, you could still buy a farm, but it's going to need work.
Yeah. And I assume it's the same near you, Ben, because we lived in North Wales, and the house prices compared to the UK, even back then, were ridiculously cheaper in some of the old like slate towns where the industry's gone. You know, as long as you've got an internet connection, I can work. So it wasn't an issue for me. But what's it far? Have you looked at any prices around there yourself?
Oh yeah, we've had a look at both private renting, even though we're on what do you call it? Council, with councils rented at the minute. We've looked at both private rentals as well as purchasing, and the price differences per region where we are. So, say if I gave Newport as an example, it's around about 610 in a council flat / council house, 3-bed. But if you were to private rent a 3-bed that's in say Upper Cumbrian, sort of within the 5-6 mile-ish radius,
I know the area.
Get 4-bed house for cheaper, so around the 575 mark in renting.
Yeah.
Then Pontypool end, you've got a 3-bed house for sale, say Sebast for 115,000. But then go just up towards Abersychan, and you can probably put another 125,000 on top of that.
It's mad, the fluctuation in
ridiculous.
such a small area. I used to understand that fluctuation when we weren't as online as we are now.
Yeah.
Like if you had to commute into Manchester, that's why the prices closer to Manchester would cost more. But most people can work remotely. Most people don't mind commuting into a city from the country. So I don't understand how they're still pricing. I suppose as long as people will pay it, right? That's why they'll price it that way.
I mean, I guess that. But just to add to it very quick, you said you used to live in North Wales. I, too, used to live up in England for a short while when I went through a bit of shtick with my parents when I was a bit younger. And the prices up there compared to down here, that was a massive difference. It was cheaper for a 3-bed up there than it is for a 3-bed down here. And that's up by Farnworth.
Yeah. I mean, that's even gone through the roof. Farnworth area, even that's gone through the roof now. So I know some of the worst areas around where you're talking about, and even them, you're looking at 1,200 quid for a 2-bedroom house now.
Yeah.
575 a month is a bedsit price where I am, says Miss Worm. Yeah, but is that in francs or euros or?
Yeah.
Brian, are you still receiving us? No. Move the Pepsi can. No, I don't think he's there. No, we've lost him. I was just going to go on to power. I was just about to go on to power.
Ironic.
And Brian's gone. So let's see if he reconnects. While we wait for him to reconnect, we've got 123 people in the chat. I want to quickly tell you about something absolutely awesome. Lee from the Bug Out was in the chat before. While we were at the prepper meet, he donated some prizes for a raffle we had there and then, which was awesome. Raised about 96, I think, through the raffle altogether, just with the donation box in there. It was about 108 altogether. So, which was absolutely awesome of him. Not only that, he's given me over 250, nearly £300 worth of gear to raffle off to you lot. Right? So it's absolutely brilliant. One of the things in here, for example, is this mini well outdoor water filter, which can be squeezed through. It can be drip fed through like as a bag, or you can drink straight out of the thing like a life straw. That's, you can see there. That's 50 quid on its own, just that filter. We've got cooking pots, we've got a stove, we've got absolutely everything. I've got a little picture here to show you. Badoosh. So he's donated all that. I'm going to get it all into that backpack for you, which is a 30-litre military backpack as well, which is awesome. The brown box is the stove, by the way, which also Polonium won one of them, which is really cool. So all of that, and you can enter by buying a £5 ticket through Just Giving for the charity, or using PayPal, and just put hashtag bug out on the comment section that you get either in Just Giving or PayPal. Polonium was actually the first one to get 2 of the tickets, so I've got them sorted. But we're going to draw this next week, so you haven't got all that long for it. The 2 links are there for PayPal and Just Giving. So if you want 2 tickets, put £10 into one of them. Make sure you put hashtag bug out. I'll find your name. I'll stick you on the wheel. Same with the PayPal donations. So if you want to win all that really cool stuff.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you,
That's
Lee.
great.
Yeah,
Nice one, Lee.
absolutely superb. Absolute legend. So, and if you've not already, and you fancy a bit of hammock camping, there might still be places at the Bug Out Weekender. So go and check that out on his website. Okay, Brian's back. Brian, we were just about to talk about power and you cut off.
You know
Oh,
what
the
happened?
irony.
I'm balancing the phone on a table, and I put 2 cans behind it to try and prop them up, and the cans killed the signal.
That's not the metal of the cans. That's the poison inside them. Sorry, it just.
Which is good for you.
Yeah, so you did a talk at the meet today about power, which was really good, really informative, great practical, going having a look around the van as well and stuff like that. You mentioned a few things which kind of got me thinking, because when I go off grid, it's going to be super on budget, and the fact I could technically get like a Delta 2, a Delta 3, a single solar panel, and just run that, have that as a starting point, because I've got a log burner for heat and stuff like that. It's actually a really practical solution, because people were quoting me like 7 to 15 grand to be off grid, but surely it depends on your needs, right?
It always depends on your needs. That is basically it. The biggest question I'll always get asked is, what would I need? Well, I don't know. What is your situation? So if your aspiration is to have something to charge your phones, run some mail,
I think Brian needs his batteries changing.
ET phone home.
Brian's the
then
Illuminati.
you don't need a lot.
Oh, there he is.
You really don't. If it's to run,
Oh,
Yeah, he's got you.
Brought to you by PowerGen.
oh,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
well-
Someone needs a screenshot of.
Have Rossi's batteries have run out. Look,
it's a disaster.
Hey, he's back. He's back. Oh, he's gone.
gone again.
He's back in time to say it's a disaster. Brian's had a stroke.
This is pissing me off.
Oh, there you go. He's back. Right, do you want to try that one more time, Brian?
Sorry, mate. I'm doing my
You
best
right?
for the signal. It's an absolute shitter.
No, you're fine.
So for you could put. So if you got a Delta 2 Max, right? It's a 2 kilowatt hour battery. It's got 2 solar charge controllers built in. It's got an inverter built in. For what you need, I was trying to explain this today. Your primary and biggest expenditure of energy is going to be heat. So
Yeah.
and as preppers, resource management is the name of the game, and that applies to energy just as much as food and water. So if you can use wood on your land for your heating, then your power needs are going to be so much lower. I mean, it'll be a fraction, because then you're only looking at, like, say, a CRX camping fridge, so some sort of compressor fridge, even a full-size fridge if need be. And I was trying to tell people that, look, you'll get about 10 to 15% performance out of your panels. So say you've got one 500 watt panel. In winter time, you might get 20 watts out of that per hour, right? Which isn't a lot. We average sunshine is 6 hours. But if you fit another 3, so you've got 2 kilowatts of potential energy, that 20 watts jumps to maybe 80 an hour. That's a whole different ballgame. In the 5 to 6 hours, you could be putting about 80% charge back into your power bank.
Yeah.
Maybe not every day, but certainly it's a viable option.
That's not a good look.
And in the depths of winter, you may be. I don't have
You're
a good look. Hello.
No, you are there. You are there. It's all right. You were just thinking. We thought you'd froze.
If I was thinking, there'd be a smell of burning, mate. So for you, as a short term solution prior to moving the family in and Xboxes in every room, lights and all that kind of crap.
Not happening. Yeah,
Your,
but go on.
your lighting solution would be like LED strips. So
Yeah.
5 volts, low wattage, decent illumination. Charging your mobile phones, maybe running a router, putting a TV on. Fridge.
Yeah.
That is definitely doable. Your solar panel needs, you could cover with 4 panels about 70 quid a pop.
Yeah.
Right?
The city
Maybe
plumbing
84
ones.
depending on the price fluctuation at the time. So yeah. So you've got, it's an entry level.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Ryan,
Yeah.
rebooting.
So if anyone didn't catch that, that's 4 of the like 500-watt solar panels from City Plumbing, which rock in at about 75 quid each. A Delta 2 hooking it all up, and that would keep them basic needs going, is what he was pretty much trying to say. The thing for me is log burner, but the thing for me, Barry,
Yeah.
are you looking at a full solar system like on a house, or would it be something like that temporary? Would it be little like generators and stuff like that? What's your thoughts on power for you?
I picked up this.
That's a good read.
Do it yourself, 12-volt solar power. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked that up about 12 years ago.
Right. And you've just started reading it.
Yeah, pretty much. Way before sort of like EcoFlow power banks and everything. And that basically is a small solar setup with a single panel. Obviously, technology's moved on now, and I've already got, a Delta power bank, a couple of other size power banks, and a few different size solar panels. So rather than have just sort of one dedicated solar setup to start with, I'll have a small solar setup, then install an additional solar setup, but better capacity, etc. And then later on down the line, upgrade that again, go for a bigger setup, more panels, more backup.
See, I'm thinking more full armish. Like so not so much I wouldn't have no power, obviously, because I wouldn't be able to stream, I wouldn't be able to do anything like that. So I'm going to want to charge things. But like Brian says, like the 5-volt lighting and things like that, really keeping that power down. Looking at like outside of the box things, looking at things like a ground fridge.
Yeah.
Brian said, "Oh bugger, sorry guys, my connection is too poor to make this viable." No problems, Brian. Appreciate you coming in. I kind of translated roughly what you said because you mentioned it to me before. And Pete, gutted Brian's having issues. Always good advice comes from him too. So us lot are just here to to fill out Brian's panel show. Cheers, Pete. But yeah, so I'm thinking like more outside the box like that. So log burner for heat and hot water, ground fridges, things like that. I'd still have a normal fridge/freezer, but like a smaller one, something designed for camping, and try and utilize it that way.
Again,
because it's an expensive do if you start going for the full setup, isn't it?
Straight off, yeah. What I would say is, if anybody can get a copy of this one.
What's that? John Seymour, The New Complete Book of Self-Sufficiency.
Self-Sufficiency. I mean, this is my third version of this, because I read through it on a regular basis, and that covers starting off from, about an acre, going and continuing up to like 15, 20 acres. It all depends upon what you want. But again, like you've just said, starting off small and sort of stepping back technology-wise, like you said, the ground fridge, using solar ovens, that kind of thing. Using a lot of 12-volt devices as well to start with before you can get your main solar system set up. then
Yeah.
brilliant idea.
Yeah. Ben, have
Yeah.
you put much thought into the power side of things? I know you were exploring that already as backup power. So
Yes.
if it was to go off grid, would you go like me and go full Victorian era, or would you be wanting to power everything?
No. I'd actually, believe it or not, I've been tinkering around with steam power.
Okay.
So I've been
Do tell.
very intrigued with the whole steampunk aesthetic, only because of one of my favorite bands. So I think it was about 15, 16 years ago, I got into Steam Powered Giraffe and got into the whole cyberpunk, steampunk sort of genre. And I thought, oh, hang on, I've got to make some of my own sort of unique clothing items. What about making things that have a purpose? So that brought the whole light bulb idea of, oh, wait, if I have to go off grid, I could do everything steam powered. Because we talk about water harvesting and things like that. Well, that's great for nourishment and to keep yourself hydrated and for washing clothes and things like that. But what about its main practical use? Boil it, turn it into steam, produce power.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, that's a good comment. Yeah.
Someone mentioned
repairs are easier.
Someone mentioned wind power before, so when I first said this and I was talking to Brian about it, it was I said, I want to do all three. I want to ideally have land with a bit of a stream on, with a decent enough drop to put a little hydro in there and generate power 24/7 through that, and then solar and then wind. Now, the feedback I've got from him directly is it's not worth the money you invest in it. It's like if it might say it's going to produce like 3,000 and it only produces 3 kind of thing. They're really terrible as far as he's concerned. So I've got to there you go. In the exact Scottish words, wind is pish. But yeah, so I kind of knocked that one on the head as well. But I really feel like I don't have to spend all that much on power when it comes to that. However, you mentioned water before, Barry.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, we'd all love a river, a nice, fresh, clean stream running through our land. But like you say, it might not come to that. You might end up with a scrap at the side of a field that's just got nothing there. Nelly on the land runs off rainwater collection. Purely, he said before that all his water is rain. What's your thoughts on that? Would you be looking at doing boreholes? Rainwater collection, or all of the above? What's the kind of thought process there?
All of them. Absolutely, all of them. Rainwater collection, borehole. Obviously, it depends upon how far down you've got to go and the costs associated with that. Dig a pond, silly as it seems, but with that, you've got to make sure that you get permission for it, because there's a YouTuber I know who dug a nice big pond on their site to catch as much rainwater as possible. Yeah. And the council made him go back and fill it all in after he spent thousands on doing it.
Right.
So, yeah. But, yeah, go for any option you possibly can, because water is life, full stop.
Yeah.
I have a couple of tips I can put out there for the chat and for the people watching as DIY ideas that can get them started.
As long as they're not it's not gonna cause them serious harm, then yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, pretty much it's mainly ones I've heard at actual events. So like a tarpaulin collection. So you can use tarpaulin to collect the rainwater and then filter it through some kind of a filtration system, whether it's the water filters themselves by squeezing it through or whatnot. Simple rain barrels. I mean, you can go out and get yourself a couple of cheap plastic containers and just use them as rain barrels. One that most people don't tend to sort of look at is if you go into like B&Q, or I know there's some places that still do them, but Homebase or something like that, or like Wix, you can get the bamboo shoots, the bamboo tubes.
Yeah.
Cut a few of those down and then cut them clean in half, angle them about 45 degrees up the side of the house or off a tree or somewhere where you're going to get the most focal point of rainwater. Run that into a tarpaulin sheet and then that into a water bucket. You've got ways, people. It's not exactly expensive. It depends on what your needs are and how far you're willing to go. There are DIY MacGyver ways of doing things on a very cheap budget.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what's going to end up with me. I mean, especially I'm trying to avoid buying the land outright to begin with.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm looking down the campsite route is because it would be a business, and I could look at leasing a section of land. I'm also looking at other avenues, XMOD, things like that. There's all sorts you can look at. And Nelly on the land said, "Don't dig a pond, dig a gravel pit."
Yeah.
And we tarped it in an emergency. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's ways of wording and doing things, right?
Yeah, that's it.
IBC £50 second hand as well, which is the huge containers and stuff for storing it. That I mean, water butts, Barry. Do you think if you've just got the water butts, if you've just got rainwater collection, look at this. Look at the like summer we've had recently, before, except for the Scottish Prep meet where we had enough water to launch a ship.
Yeah.
We've had quite a dry spell. So would that just roll back to being a prepper, and you would have stored water? You'd have your emergency supplies, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean, look at the hosepipe bans we had recently. There was a sheer test of it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, does going off grid and living off the land and living that kind of good life thing, does that make you prep less because you're self-sufficient?
No, you can never prep less.
Well, you can, but
No, Ben's right. Absolutely. Yeah, you can't. The more water you can store, the better. Whether it's in multiple water butts or IBCs or however you manage to obtain it and store it, it doesn't matter. You're never going to have too much water.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, with my comment about you can never stop prepping, it's like with those water butts and those containers, they're going to need maintenance. And after a while, they're going to start degrading, and you're going to find yourself in that position with, oh, I did have X, Y, and Z amount of washers or O-rings or duct tape or what have you. But then that's going to start diminishing over time. So you're always prepping, and you're always restoring your reserves.
Yeah, Grass Monster's got a valid point. If you're planning on any livestock, even chickens, your water needs will go up a lot.
Massively.
Yeah. So, really cool. Thanks for all your help in the comments and stuff like that. Nelly, you need to get you on a podcast and we can discuss how you did it. It would be awesome to have you on that.
Yeah.
Just mention I have had a couple of you come through on PayPal for some tickets. Everyone's buying 2 at 10. I wasn't telling you had to do that. That just puts your name on the wheel twice. It is £5 a go if you want to do it. So you can do as many or as little as you want. So I'm just hoping people didn't think I meant it was £10 a ticket. So you've all got your name in twice onto the wheel anyway for that awesome prize from the bug out.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah. Well, you've got a week. We've got till the next Fireside. We will do it at. Right. The next one's the shitty subject. Guess what it is, Barry? What's that?
The humanure handbook.
Tell me about that. That's a new one on me.
This copy is the 3rd edition. Again, I think I got it at the same time as that 12-month one, and it's basically how to collect, treat, and use the good old subject of the brown and sticky. So yeah, it's really good.
Okay. And what directions that push you into to do? What's your plan when it comes to that?
Composting toilets, absolutely. Composting.
There you go. Alan hit the nail on the head. So like a long drop kind of system, or are you talking about where you have the half tray in, so it kind of naturally separates fluid from solid? Unless you've had a curry, then everything's fluid. So.
That book covers all of it, to be honest. I mean, if anybody's thinking of recycling and reusing their waste at all, that is a definite book to add to your prepping library, because not only if you move off grid, if the brown and sticky does hit the fan, so to speak, that's going to get you out of it.
There you go. Top tip: vegetarian poo stinks less. So I'm turning the entire family vegetarian apart from me. So at least it's only my chiddles thing.
There was nothing wrong with that vegetarian food I had at the meet.
I agree with Barry. I mean, I wasn't at the meet, but me and Mrs. RP have tried a few vegetarian meals, and do you know what? They are actually very tasty.
You think Barry had a hint of sarcasm in his tone?
No.
Yes.
But to be fair, Barry, that was an MRE vegetarian option. It's not
Yeah,
like
that's
Linda
fair.
McCartney's gone to town on that. That is Joe,
Yeah,
the chef from the military.
Yeah, and
Was
it
it
wasn't,
really that
it wasn't
bad?
actually the sausage one that you recommended me try either, was it? Because we couldn't get hold of that one. It was just the vegetarian one. So
Yeah, it was the vegan sausage one that I had, and it
That's
wasn't
it,
that
yeah.
bad, Ben. It wasn't that bad. I would rather go and eat deer droppings to see what kind of berry taste I could get out of them. That's how bad it was. And that's
the thing
not.
with MREs, isn't it? You're in the will of the gods there. It's going to be 50-50. Is it actually going to be nice? Is it going to be
I like most of them. I like this. I thought it wouldn't be a problem because I've not come across an MRE till that one that I
Yeah.
disliked. There's some bit bland ones like, oh look, a bean salad.
Oh,
You know, but it's all right. It's edible. It's fine. So I've
Yeah.
never had an issue till I hit that one. But yeah, that was horrendous. But it's not a vegetarian thing. I think the Greg's vegetarian sausage rolls taste better than the normal ones. So there we go.
they do.
But waste management, Ben. Septic tanks, long drops. What's the way to go?
Septic tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very hands-on, so to me that's going to be another form of maintenance, another thing to keep me busy. Because the one thing I've always promoted is keep your mind busy, keeps it healthy. So
I mean, I think any human waste management's gonna keep you busy, right?
oh yeah,
Whether that's long drop or anything like that.
but I will try and look up. If Barry, if you could send me a link for that book, 'cause that looks like a good read. I didn't know that book existed until now.
yeah, I'll fire one across to you later.
Nice one, thank you very much. Because yeah, no, we're our go-to is going to be septics at the minute.
Only Brian.
Only Brian, you're not even on the screen, and you're doing it. You're still doing it. Poo experiment I'm doing. 1 year of poo for 1 year of poo for 2 fills 2 wheelie bins. Don't judge. There you go. I mean, that's not all that much maintenance, right?
True.
I've gone blurry.
But actually, Nelly, fair point to that. At least
Yeah.
there is someone out there who is doing this kind of
Yeah,
test.
they're doing it. Testing.
You know, I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of ridicule of people saying, "Oh, I've tried this and tried that," and people are like, "Well, why? That's just stupid," or that's insane. No, that is good because now for Nelly, you know, 1 year of poo for 2 fills 2 wheelie bins worth. You can work that out over a 5-year period, in a sense, and get some kind of accurate figures. So
Yeah.
that's handy information.
Yeah. So this lamb and mint pie. Sheep eat grass. Mint is a herb. It's veggie by default. There we go.
Yeah.
That's Great Gala who came to the meet, and he brought some pies from a very special pie shop somewhere in the northwest. I won't say where because I don't want to give his location away, but somewhere in the northwest, which I will be visiting, and they were awesome. They were out of this world. Literally, and I'm an avid fan of baked goods. Can you tell? No. But yeah, so for me personally, the long drop thing is probably the way to go to begin with. All these campsites recently that we've been looking at for prepper events have the long drop toilets. I've seen good ones. I've seen terrible ones. I've seen like both ends of the scale with this. So I know what to do and I know what I'm going to be doing. And it's going to be ye old medieval throne. I suppose it probably puts a lot of people off that, but it's when it's all your own and your own family's, Barry. It's not much of an issue compared to being at a campsite where it's been filled up by every man and his dog, and it's
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you say, if it's your own families, you deal with it. I mean, when you have kids, you deal with their poo when they're growing up and everything. So, like, I know it's kind of slightly different because it's in nappies and everything, etc. Or if you know
nappies. There you go. There's Plan C.
Plan
Laws
C.
just went
Big nappies. Yeah. But yeah, like you say, campsite. That kind of you've got to get the right systems in place for that, because obviously you're increasing your volumes of everything. Your waste management, your rubbish, etc. Everything just becomes more complicated.
Yeah. Gala said I can say it was. I think it was Tomlinson's Bakery in Warrington. There you go. Just throw that. I think that was the right name. Let me know if it wasn't, Gala. So yeah, poo is poo, says Brian. So
Yep.
When you come and visit, Brian, you can help me out with the long drop. Then superb. I'm glad that's your mentality of that. Poo is just poo. It's fine. Fourth edition of the Humanure Handbook. Miss Worm has posted a link there.
Thank you, Miss Worm.
I need to show Miss Worm how to do my affiliate links.
And it's not a bad price for anyone who wants to know. It's currently 23% off on Amazon for $15.49 for the paperback.
I mean, how much can you write about poo in the book? It surely doesn't need a book, right?
I mean,
this could be a pamphlet, I feel.
There's a book I read. If I can dig it out, I'll ping a thing in the Discord for it. But it teaches you how to use baby nappies as a potting plant.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
It is strange. Don't get me wrong. It's not one that's been used, but you can actually use some kind of the hydrogel or something to help with the compost and the soil. I'll find when I get in the boxes. I'll dig it out and I'll find it. I'll send it in the Discord.
Awesome. That's great. Another reason to be on the Discord, as mentioned by Ben. So if you're not on the Discord already, go and join it. It's a great place to be. 315, I want to say, something around that. We've got at the moment members on there, which is absolutely awesome. It's a great community. We'll whiz through the last two little subjects I've got here because I'm aware we're pushing towards 10 o'clock. I don't want to keep you lads too late. The next one was the opposite of what we just spoke about, and it's food production. So you touched briefly on that, Barry, by mentioning having animals because that'd be the reason to be on the land.
Yeah.
What's your plan with that? Because there's loads of different ways you can approach food production, and there's loads of different schools of thought and how much you need to do and how much you actually have to grow to sustain. Is it, and I suppose the other question is it just going to complement your current going shopping, or is it going to be completely living off the land?
This is it. It all depends upon your individual plan. If it's just to feed you and your immediate family, you're only going to need a small amount of animals. You have to cost things out. It might not actually be cost effective for you to have your own animals. It might just be cheaper to go and get those 6 eggs from the shop, etc. I mean, I'm pre-planning it because chickens, I shall have chickens.
Sorry, I nearly choked. Was that a Haynes manual to a chicken?
Yes, mate. Yep, there you go. Haynes chicken manual.
My brain went instantly dark because you open a Haynes manual and it shows you the insides and how to disassemble it and stuff. Oh, although at least the chickens are in one piece in most of it. That's
yes, they are. That was actually £2 from a car boot sale. Haynes manuals probably go for about 15-20 quid a pop now, something like that. That was £2 from a car boot bag.
I think they've gone. I think they've stopped Haynes manuals for cars and stuff, haven't they? They just don't do
most
it
of it's all online now. It's all online service manuals and stuff.
So so what are you looking at then, food wise? Obviously livestock, chickens and stuff like that. But when it comes to growing food, what's your plan around that? Is it just going to wild plant? Are you going to run plough? What's the plan?
Home farm.
Okay.
So that details basically how to set up a small farm. Bees, chickens, goats, ducks, all the systems that would need to go into place to sort of look at those animals, etc. And then obviously the food side of things, it'll be a polytunnel or greenhouse, raised beds, hotbeds as well for starting seedlings off, etc. Again, all this is dependent on cost, the size of your budget to start with. You haven't got to go all in straight away.
This is the thing. Yeah, this is my theory as
Yeah,
well.
go little and often.
Yeah.
Start off with 2 or 3 chickens.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the goats or anything. Not yet. You might not need them this year. See how you do with the chickens. If you're a complete failure at chickens, don't keep buying more chickens.
Yeah.
Because it's simple sense.
As long as I can make them live longer than I ever made my Tamagotchi live, I'll be all right.
Tamagotchi, that's what blimey. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah, I tell you what, Barry, is places like Beamish and the Black Country Museum are a great insight into this because they have like wartime buildings and wartime gardens and showing how they segmented such small space off for growing different types of things. And one section might be a kind of greenhouse, one might be like it's directly in the ground, one might be raised bed, depending on what they're growing.
Yeah, I haven't got it with me, but there's another book, Square Foot Gardening.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one. You set up a raised bed of approximately 1 meter square, and you divide it into your 9 sections, which are almost a foot square, and you grow different amounts of vegetables in it or plants, etc., in each of those. And that's a great little book because obviously your growing space is 1 meter, and you can scale it up accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always a learning curve, though. Ben, have you tried growing anything yourself, food-wise? I know you're in a flat, but have you had a dab hand at gardening or?
Yes, so before I moved in with Mrs. RP, I used to do countryside and environmental studies as a BTEC level 3 back in college. Okay. So I'm used to doing the whole plant pots in the window, knowing how to grow them with a bit of bone meal. But no, since having kids, they teach them in school how to plant all different veg and herbs in the house. So I've utilized that. I've actually gone to the school and asked, can I sit in on a few refresher courses while you teach the little ones, like, and fair play, because they know we prep. They're like, yeah, come on over and have a listen. And doing that now at home, we've got mint, cilantro, and a little bit of thyme on the go. So all good at the minute.
Cool. I mean, it's good to get the practice in now and stuff like that. Barry, do you do any gardening now? Do you grow any fruit and veg now? Or are you going to try it before you go off grid?
I had an allotment till last year and then had to give it up. It was overrun by a particularly very invasive plant that I just could not get rid of, no matter how much I tried, short of using a flamethrower. So that had to go. But my back garden's got about 4 raised beds in there, something like that, and they've all got plants in. I've got tomatoes in hanging baskets, strawberries in hanging baskets off the fences, etc. Use whatever space you've got. Doesn't have everybody thinks gardening is just ground level. It's not. Use your vertical space as well. Grow stuff up trellises, cucumbers, peas,
any sort of climbing plants and stuff like that, tomatoes,
anything can be a pot for a plant. Simple as.
Yeah, and there's different hybrids of that and stuff like that. You can actually find like starting shrubs for these different things and certain plants that have been almost bred to be more vertical, where naturally they'd be more further out, like blackberry bushes and stuff like that. So there's cool stuff to look into like that. So food wise for me, I'm very similar to you, Barry. I'm looking at raised beds and polytunnels, and I will happily give him a shout out on this channel. I've been watching Canadian Preppers stuff when it comes to the homesteading stuff he's doing, not so much the emergency alerts, but the homesteading stuff he's doing, because he's got his raised beds, he's got his polytunnels, he's got environmental control in there, some really good stuff, and he's showing things that he's learned along the way. Like he made the raised beds out of a material that wasn't quite strong enough, wasn't quite thick enough, and it started to bore, so he had to reinforce. So it was really good to watch stuff like that, and I'm watching all these little channels as well. So that's my school of thought with it, especially if I'm going to start as a business, because I'm going to be in a caravan essentially on a campsite managing it, so I can just have a small space to get started and try these things out. So, and
of course, as you get more proficient at growing that, there's a supplemental income for you as well.
Ideally.
once you've started growing it as well, you've got to learn how to keep it. Preserving. Get preserving, definitely.
Get preserving, and if you want a good head start in that, go to Blue's Self-Reliance. She's got a channel on YouTube.
Absolutely.
She's part of our Discord as well. She'll happily interact and answer questions on her YouTube, but also come over to Discord and she'll have a talk with you on there. She's a font of knowledge when it comes to stuff like that. And I must admit, some of that makes me nervous. You hear horror stories about botulism, but it's purely timing on most things. It's purely just follow a recipe. If you can follow instructions, you can do it. So you should be all right.
Very quick, just to touch on what we were just discussing about smaller channels. 2 other recommendations as well. If you really want to get into doing some DIY preps at home, check out, even though he passed away, the King of Random's channel, because I've done one of his back garden foundries on a budget. And that's good for, because I mentioned to you guys, I've done blacksmithing and things like that. It's a really, really budget-friendly way of doing an at-home foundry where you can recycle a load of these, like monster cans and things, and actually turn them into ingots of aluminium or what have you.
What was that channel again?
Really handy. That was the King of Random.
King of Random.
And the other one about preserving, very ironic, but how to drink. He's very good at teaching how to make syrups and preservatives, not just for alcoholic beverages, but also for preserving like pickles, eggs, things like that.
Patriot, I can't find the channel Amish Living. Does it go by another name? Because there's a million different Amish Life, Frugal Amish Life, Frugal Solutions, Amish Lifestyle. So if you can put the Amish channel link in, or tell me the exact channel name, that'd be great. Because that's my cup of tea. That kind of living. Blue's channel's been posted in there by Miss Worm. Thank you, Miss Worm. You've been absolutely on the ball with all the links tonight, Miss Worm. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Miss Worm.
Thank you, Miss Worm.
Sounds so rehearsed when we all said it after each other. She makes us say this. Thank you. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
What a
So look, canning can reduce the need for a fridge 100%. That's why I'm looking at the ground fridge, like I say, and I'm looking at ways that I don't have to use so much power. You know, I don't want to be trying to run a giant American fridge freezer full of food off Delta 2 24/7. So I'm looking at ways. Cool. Right. Okay. I think that's, the last one was heating and cooking. Keep the channels coming, by the way, guys. Literally, I'm totally new to this. Barry is totally new to this, exploring these options. Ben, none of us are experts. None of us are off-grid. None of us have done it yet. So we're relying on you guys for these tips, these channels, these advice, everything. So thank you. Keep them coming. It's absolutely awesome. When Amish say goodbye, they say, I miss you.
Oh,
terrible.
That's
Off Grid with Doug and Stacey. Is that what it's called? Excellent. Right. Okay.
yeah, I've watched that. That's a really good channel.
It is.
Yeah.
Right. Before I forget, just pad for time. Somebody dance or something.
Well, actually, I'll touch on something she said about fire, about heating and power.
Yes. So heating and cooking and that kind of thing is the next subject. Anyway, so go for it.
All right. Cool. Well, I was in Asda yesterday, and they've got a current sale on the summertime sales on all their camping equipment from Ozark, and they got a couple of propane? I'm not sure because I'm used to myself. I think they're propane camp cookers, and they're the two burners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the canister goes in the right hand side in a little like slot. Those are down from 55 at the minute down to 30. They're looking pretty good. So I want to try and get one of them on payday. But as for the power requirements, I'm still looking at an Eco 2. So I got to pick Brian's brains. I've seen it in the Discord. And it's like, well, I can read everyone else's, but I may slide into his DMs and be like, hey, bud, I want to get an Eco 2. I'm a newbie. Come on.
Right, so just top tip, right? He loves really long voice messages, so send him them.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that because I saw it in the Discord. So
Yeah, just
That's
just
handy.
and ask him the same question about 7 times, and that's
You'll
usually
love that.
yeah. It's and email him, because if he doesn't respond within the first 24 hours, he doesn't like you. So that's what I always say to people. So not throwing you under the bus at all, Brian. Honestly.
Best way to get on the good
Nudge.
side, give him a Pepsi.
Thank you for that, Patriot. I found that one. Pioneer Life in the 21st Century. Absolutely love it. That's going to be me. Going to be the UK version of that. That's what we're going for. So
Sounds good.
I'll go on a binge watch of that. I'll try and get. It's 1.3 million subscribers, so I don't think
Yeah.
you'll come on the Prepper podcast.
That
But I can
will-
try. I can put the
That will
feelers out.
take you some watching, Mike, because he's been on for a while.
1.7k videos.
Yeah.
There we go. There you go.
But it's like the old saying goes: if you don't ask, you don't know.
Well, I've completed Netflix, so I've got something else to watch anyway. So. Right, cooking, heating and cooking, right? So I know I've got in my brain what I'm doing. Barry, tell me yours before I tell you mine.
Wood burner primarily. Can
Can you elaborate on that? Are we talking single little wood burner,
Oh,
chimney
sorry,
stack?
yeah.
What? Yeah.
Right. So to start with, small wood burner that I cook on the top of. Further on down the road, Arga.
Okay.
Proper old school Arga.
Mhm.
But I mean that is way down the line.
Good
in
afternoon.
the midterm, we've got some induction hot plates that we can use for camping. They're like single hot plates. They will run off power banks, so we're okay for that. That's primarily going to be it for now. There's no kind of we live on simple food, to be honest. So our cooking requirements aren't going to be anything extravagant.
Okay.
Whereas like some people who absolutely love cooking with thousands and thousands of ingredients and stuff and millions of pots and pans, that's not us. So our cooking requirements are pretty nominal, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, you cook to your
Okay.
needs.
And heating, is it the same thing? It's all going to be done through the wood burner. You're going to have backup heating. How's that going to work?
Yeah, it'll be done through the wood burner, hot water system, plumbed into the back of that, or around hot tanks. I was watching a video the other day where they got a greenhouse, and in the rafters of the greenhouse, what they'd done is they'd got coils of black water piping, and they'd plumbed it all together, and the natural heat coming through the greenhouse heating up the black pipes was heating up their hot water, and even in winter they were getting hot water that was almost too hot to touch.
Right. Okay. There you go.
Damn.
Absolutely spot on plan. Ben, have you put any thought into this side of things?
To be honest, yeah, I'm kind of the same with Barry. It's with us, I'd be looking at getting a nice wood burner so I can put on one of the old-fashioned cookers on the top, one of the little mounts. Because of our needs, obviously, with our one daughter having extra needs, that will come in more in handy for us. But then later down the line, because I used to work with British Gas, Argas are probably the best bet to go. So I'm pretty much the same as Barry in that regard. But I was looking down the immersion sort of heating way. If we still had a form of electricity, we would look at an immersion heater and try and heat some hot water that way. But obviously, as backup, we would do an old-fashioned way of running some PVC piping underneath the ground, maybe sort of 3-4 inches deep, but put some hot plates over the top or heating pads over the top that can run to a power bank.
Okay.
And then charge that off of solar.
Right. Okay. I mean, when you're doing any sort of heating element with solar, especially with power banks and stuff, it's very heavy drain on it. So be aware of that and do plenty of tests with it. For me, the Arga you mentioned, it kind of hit the nail on the head. I used to live in a miner's cottage in Wales, and it was the full fireplace all built in.
Yeah.
However, slightly different approach from me. I'll obviously keep an eye out on the antique malls and stuff like that, and the auctions like I always do, and hopefully something wonderful will come up. But I'm looking at building my own. So building my own, as in I'll have a foundation of a cast iron log burner, which I know where I can get, and it's a really good one. And that itself would be the foundation. It would be extending that off that with different metals and different compartments, and obviously the distance and the thickness between would dictate the heat. So that's my plan initially. You can get a wood burning stove as a starting platform that you could fit a pan and a kettle on anyway for about 200-300 quid. It's not really expensive. Hopefully you can pick up a second-hand one. The older, usually in this case, the older is usually the better because they were made out of like more sturdy materials. It wasn't coming from Temu. But the kitchen's my place. I mean, I love the kitchen, so I would be looking at every option, not just that. I want to build my own brick pizza oven. I've seen so many people do that on YouTube. And it looks, I've done a bit of brickwork as part of joinery. You end up doing a little bit of all trades when you do joinery. So I've done a bit of brickwork, so I'm going to try that. I'll have a barbecue area and stuff like that anyway. If I've got a campsite, it's a nice little feature to have anyway. So yeah, cooking outdoors in peace times would be number one. After that, we're looking at the oven, which will, again, also be the main source of heat. Hot water, everything would be going off this. But I will be looking at an electric shower that's got its own heating element, because I've got to do some luxuries, otherwise she's never going to come with me.
Yeah, no, that's a good point actually about the electric shower. You know, I mean, you haven't got a massive sort of, depending on how you want to set it up for your campsite. I mean, I can't remember what it was like at the Scottish Prepper Meet, because I never visited their shower bit that they'd got.
I think it was similar. I think it was like just the electric heated one, but obviously I think they had theirs into the mains kind of thing. So I don't know. I didn't actually see. I think they were mains connected, that site.
I think they were opposite where the toilets were. So
yeah,
missed that one.
Cold showers won't do you any harm. It's fine. It's fine.
To be fair, Mrs. RP finds it quite bizarre that I can enjoy a cold shower. She's always like, no, I gotta have it at 34. I gotta have it at 34. Nothing more, nothing less. 34.
Anybody interested in wanting to be able to tolerate a cold shower, just Google the Wim Hof method. Yeah, I've met the guy at the Arnold Festival. He's a great speaker. He's a great guy and stuff. But his Wim Hof method, I tried it, and it got to the point where I could go into the shower, turn it on full blast cold, and have a 6-7 minute shower, fully washing, no problems at all. And that started with the first time doing it where I was going, I can't breathe. So it developed over months. So anyway,
that was very Bee Gees of you.
Glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
Staying wet. Anyway,
moving swiftly on.
And off again. That's it. We're pretty much over. We've well past our hour, but we've still got 103 people in here. Don't forget about the awesome giveaway that's sponsored by the Bug Out and Lee, and go and check the Bug Out as well, the shop itself, because this is absolute bargains. Honestly, it's a no-brainer. But all this stuff could be yours for as little as £5 for a ticket, which will be spinning the wheel next week. You can get that by simply paying through the PayPal or the Just Giving, which is all going towards Help for Heroes, for the charity we're raising money for, which we are absolutely maxing out how much we're going to be giving them. So it's unreal. Well, already given, because it goes straight to them anyway. So it's just use the Just Giving if you can. I would recommend that more than anything else, because you get the gift aid on top, which is, better in their pocket than somebody else's. But whatever your method you do, your names will go in the hat, and that'll be awesome. Barry, quickly tell them all about your channel. What's coming next on your channel? Is this going to be documented on it?
You kind of beat me to it, because I've seen that you're doing something about it tomorrow, aren't you?
To be honest, Barry, the videos I've got scheduled for mine is purely the planning stages.
Yeah. So
I'd love for you to do the same sort of videos, because it'd be great to compare what we're thinking about. So yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. As I say, Browncoat Prepper, it's prepping from a novice's point of view. By no means are any of us experts at what we do.
You've seen my camping videos, you'll know.
Yeah. Mike's learnt to swim in a tent. I've learnt to sort of fix tents on the fly. But yeah, come and watch us. We'll entertain you. Simple as.
There you go. Excellent. Ben, tell us about Renegade Preppers UK.
Renegade Preppers UK is just me and Mrs. RP. Both of us are novice preppers as well. And our channel so far has 2 videos on it, which is both firesides we've been on. So upcoming will be a few extra bushcraft videos that I'm hopefully going to get permission to go just behind to do. But if not, I have another location in mind where I can do it. So some bushcrafting videos coming up.
There better be, Ben. There better be. You can't just like milk all my content for your channel. I want some original content on there as well, Ben. Come on.
It's yacht deck with people around. It's too crowded.
Thank you.
There we are. It's hard to find locations.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone in the chat as well, especially Miss Worm for posting the links. Miss Worm is not just an awesome moderator, she has her own channel. It's nothing to do with prepping, and if you want something different, go and check out. I'm going to have to update that. It flashes up 2024, and it's clearly that's just me being lazy. I promise, Miss Worm, I'll update your advert. I'll do you a new one soon. Thank you to our panel. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you for the support. Thank you to the people that have already bought tickets, and the names are in the hat and on the wheel for that awesome prize, that bag full of prepping goodies. So thanks very much. Everyone would just like to wave goodbye, and I will play us out.
See you all.
In the glow of embers dance, we've prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue. Prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue.
I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian, and so's my wife! Right, take him away and release him.
No, I'm only joking. I'm not really Brian.